everyone, welcome back to the channel. Miss Crochet and Coffee here, and today we're doing a whip and chat, so pull out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me. I am working on Eternal Love by Michael Jelena, and of course from Diamond Art Club. It was my sneak peek from the previous week. I will link it up in the eye. If you're wondering about the boat, you will find out more information about this boat and where it came from in What You Got Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful day. I am in the process right now, well, one, I'm diamond painting, so I'm not in the process of doing anything besides that, but I'm in the process right now of getting the kids ready for school. So I know a lot of schools have started all over the U.S. I'm not sure about out of country, but here in the U.S., a lot of schools have already started. And as you guys know, I opted to do homeschooling for the kids due to safety reasons. Orion and I, with our horrible asthma, are very high risk, and I don't feel comfortable sending them to school quite yet. I did have somebody ask me, why don't I just send Maggie by herself? And it's because, one, Maggie is 7. 2, if Maggie goes and gets it from school, she can easily bring it home to all of us, so she will also be attending school at home. I thought that was kind of common sense, but not, I guess common sense isn't so common. So yeah, so the kids will be homeschooled this year, and well, they're doing it by semester here. So every semester they will ask the parents that are homeschooling their kids, are they ready for their kids to start coming back to face-to-face school or not? Now, I'm not sure when I will feel comfortable enough to send them back to school. I think it's when they're going to stop wearing masks, because at this point they sent home a letter letting us know what the plan would be for when the kids got back to school. And essentially the plan is to have them wear masks all day. Now, that sounds all good, except for the fact that there are small children. This is an elementary school, okay? I couldn't even get Maggie to keep her clothes on in school last year. Like literally, she would come home almost every day wearing her thermals. When it was wintertime outside, I would have them wear thermals underneath their clothes. I couldn't even get her to come home with her regular clothes on every day. And they're just like, yeah, we'll get her to wear a mask all day. No, you won't. I can't get Maggie to do hardly anything. Now, that's not to say that, oh, well, she's a child and she should just listen, blah, blah, blah. It's Maggie, okay? Maggie is 7 years old. She'll be 8 next month. And, like, trying to keep that tiny human in anything that she doesn't want to wear, yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to you. And then, like, the policies and stuff that they have in place with, like, you have to take their temperature every morning. And then if they're anything above normal temperature, you have to keep them home. And in my head, I'm like, well, if that's the case, because I know there's a lot of schools that have opened and already closed back down and decided to go through just virtual learning. But I'm like, I don't see this going well, like sending the kids back to school. It's too early. The virus is still out there, and I'm not all about, like, getting my kids sick. This isn't like chicken pox. Like, I don't know if anybody else's parents did this, and I thought my parents were cruel for doing this. But when I was little and you would get chicken pox, right? And then your parent, if you didn't get it, okay, your parents would send you to somebody's house whose kid who had it so you could get it. And for the longest time, I'm like, what kind of horrible monsters of parents do I have that they're sending me to people's house to get sick? Now, in our house, there were 6 kids at one time living in the house. And it wasn't very hard to get sick because essentially there were 6 kids in the house. So if somebody got sick in the house, the whole house is getting sick, okay? So I didn't really have to get sent to a friend's house, but like my mom would have us play with each other even though one of us had chicken pox so that we could all get chicken pox. And then as I grew up and learned that if you don't get them while you're younger, they're a lot more fatal if you get them when you're older. And I'm like, okay, now I understand why they did it. At first, I was just kind of like, I remember that time my mom told me to go play with my sister and I knew she had chicken pox. And I'm like, I don't want to play with her. Now, I haven't been a germaphobe my whole life or anything. Oh, I will link this tray down below. This is the tray I got from Mama Vapes and Diamond Paints. Because I haven't essentially kitted up this diamond painting, and I'm just working out of bags, I just kind of have 2 trays going. Don't worry about it. Anyways, so I'm just like, what kind of horrible monsters of parents are sending their children to get sick on purpose? This isn't one of those viruses, okay? This isn't like chicken pox where you can just send your kid to school, they'll get sick, they'll get over it, and you send them back to school. So I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm not about that life. Let's go ahead and sign them up for distance learning. And so I've been getting the emails from their teachers this week because they start school this Thursday, so y'all pray for me. Now, this isn't something that's fun for me. If I had my choice and there was no virus, my kids would be going to school. But I also know that, at points in time in your life, everybody has to do something they don't want to do. I don't want to homeschool these kids. I'm not smart enough to homeschool Orion, okay? This kid does fractions. I can't do fractions. I can barely do fractions when I'm cooking. Thank God for measuring cups, or everything would just have a big cup of something in it. Like, I'm Southern. We don't measure nothing. It's to sight. That's how you measure when you're Southern. You measure to sight. If it looks like enough salt, that's enough salt. If it looks like enough sauce, that's enough sauce. Like, that's how we do it down south. And I'm just like, you want me to, no, it's just not a thing, y'all. It's just not a thing. I worry about it, and I worry about the students that are going. And I thought for a while there, okay, maybe I'm just being a little over paranoid about it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, then this morning, I had to send off some packages. I wanted to send off a couple of snack size paintings to a friend of mine. And so I sent off some packages, and I'm sitting there, and I'm driving past the school. Because for those of you who don't know, I live about a minute and a half away from the elementary school that my kids go to. I drive by, and I'm not even joking you, I see 5 teachers standing in a circle, talking to each other, no mask, no social distancing, all just standing in a corner, like, just talking. And I'm like, where are the masks? We're expecting our children to wear masks, but if you drive by the school while they're getting stuff prepared, the teachers aren't even wearing masks. And I'm like, and you want me to send no, thank you. No, it's not a thing. It's not happening. I'm not cool about that in these streets. Wish the arms on this was a little bit higher, because I feel like I'm going to drop drills out of here. So yeah, so there is that part of it. Like, right now we're in, phase of getting the kids back to a normal sleep schedule, because over the summer it was, you pass out, you fall asleep where you pass out. Okay. Summertime, even though the kids are little, we let them play longer. And especially this summer we didn't really give them a bedtime, because essentially their summer got stolen from them. They couldn't really go out. We didn't get a chance to really go out and do a whole lot. We did go to the Badlands a couple of times, and that was really nice to do, but we didn't get the chance to go swimming. We didn't get the chance to go do like anything else because of the virus. So I'm like, well, if they have to play in the house, why not just let them play a little bit longer? And they would just sit and either play with each other or play by themselves or play with me. But either way, like, their summer got stolen from them. So I wasn't about to give them a bedtime. And essentially they usually they don't usually last past like 10:30 very often. Like, it usually by like 10:30, like, you'll see the kid playing. Like, you ever seen your kid playing and then it's like something happens, like you could tell they're fighting to sleep. They're fighting it like a Vander Holyfield in the World Championships or something. Like, they literally are fighting sleep. And then the moment they stop moving, they just fall over and pass out. That is how it is with these kids. So I'm like, I'm not worried about giving them a bedtime, because they won't make it past midnight. And I'm usually up super late anyways. So, like, yeah. So I didn't really give them a bedtime. And so now we're working them back into a bedtime schedule. Maggie, of course, will have to go to bed earlier because with her epilepsy, and I fear that she's going through a growth spurt. And I know a lot of parents are like, why are you fearing her going through a growth spurt? All kids go through growth spurts. Well, in Maggie's case, when Maggie goes through a growth spurt, if you guys don't remember, a couple of months ago, Maggie went through a growth spurt, and we had to change her medicine up. And when we did that, she developed night terrors. Because they were adjusting her meds and seeing how much she did and didn't need and everything else. And while they were adjusting it, she was having all kinds of weird side effects. One of the side effects being night terrors. And essentially if you don't know what night terrors are, night terrors, essentially, you pretty much scream. For Maggie, this is what her night terrors were like. She would scream for hours as if somebody was hurting her and she was asleep. You couldn't wake her up. She would not wake up if you try to wake her up. You would just have to sit through 3 to 4 hours of her just blood-curdling screaming at the top of her lungs. And I'm just like, Okay, when that was all over and we got her medicine adjusted properly, I was like, okay, cool. I can handle this now. Like, she's good. You know, she's been seizure free for what, maybe like a year or so now. So we do have an appointment to go see her doctor this year, which is another reason why I opted for, sorry, I got something on my canvas over here. It's another reason why we opted for homeschooling is because Maggie's doctor's appointment is going to be coming up here in October. And of course, if you don't know, we have to travel out of state for that. Now, I don't feel comfortable doing that. With the virus going on, I'm very, if you can't tell, I'm very like shooketh with the virus right now. Like, I'm not trying to get it. I'm not trying to give it to anybody. No. So like when they were telling us that, you know, she needs to be seen, I'm like, I can see her just fine. Like, why do I need to be seen? Most of the doctor's appointments have been virtual, where the doctors use Zoom to like have meetings with you to check to make sure everything's going okay and blah, blah, blah. But because of the severity of Maggie's epilepsy, they have to actually physically see her every year. So we have to travel 5.5 hours one way to Billings, Montana. Now, we don't mind the travel, but they do lose an entire day of school. And because we don't have any friends or family or anybody I trust living here in North Dakota to watch Orion, he has to come with us. So with them doing homeschooling, it's a lot easier, and I don't have to worry about pulling them out of school or all that stuff that comes with having to pull them out of school. I can just, hey, they're not going to be on the computer today. They're going to be in Montana. So there's that. She's been sleeping a lot lately, which is her telltale sign that she is hitting a growth spurt. Like, she will sleep, like the other day, she slept for 15 hours. Now, Maggie is 7. So anytime Maggie, like, she ate breakfast, went back to sleep, and then woke up when it was time to eat dinner. And I was just like, okay, yeah, something's up. Something's not right. And usually around the time I would go walk the dogs in the afternoon is when she would, you know, come out with me to go walk the dogs. Well, she couldn't because she was just so tired. So I ended up having to leave her here because she was so tired. So her and Orion stayed here with the neighbor lady across the hall, and I went and walked the dogs. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm a little fearful about it, but it's all right. I also want to take the time out to say thank you to everyone who wished me a happy birthday. It meant a lot to me. It always baffles me, like, how many people actually will take the time out to do that, even though it's like, you know, it's just saying happy birthday. That means a lot to people. Like, people don't know how much it means to them when you do little stuff like that. And it's all about the little things for me. So I would like to thank everyone who said happy birthday. I really do appreciate it. It was a great day. I did absolutely nothing. I didn't put on, well, okay. I took what I like to call my birthday shower. Now, you're probably wondering what the hell a birthday shower is. A birthday shower for me, and if you're a parent, you're going to understand this. So a birthday shower for me, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, I don't get showers that last longer than 10 to 15 minutes, okay? So a birthday shower is, you get a shower for 20 minutes or more. I was in that shower for 45 minutes that day. Good God. Yeah, it was great. It was glorious. I loved every second of it. And I'm just sitting there like, no, I'm not even, like, I woke up yesterday morning and I'm looking on my phone, checking my messages like I normally do. And Mr. Coffee had already gotten up, got the kids up and everything. And so I'm like, I'm sitting there on my phone and I'm like, ooh, it's my birthday. I get to take an uninterrupted shower. And they know, you know, okay, it's mommy's birthday. She's getting her shower. Don't mess with her. Don't call her. Don't, you know, whatever. And usually they'll go bug Mr. Coffee for whatever it is, especially since half the time they'll walk right past him to come ask me questions. And I'm like, he is right there. Like, he's your father. Like, this is not like Star Wars. He's your father. Like, you can go ask him questions. You don't always have to come to me. Or they'll ask me, Mom, can I get this? Did you ask your dad? Oh, yeah. Like they just up and forgot that their dad was sitting here. And I'm like, that has to make him feel some type of way. And he's like, it does make me feel some type of way, because why is it that they never want to ask me questions? Now, the reason the kids do that, and I know I'm pretty sure I'm not the only parent who has children that will bypass one spouse to go to the other. But the reason why my kids do it is because, ooh, dropping stuff everywhere. The reason why my kids do it is because for 5 years, Mr. Coffee wasn't around. He lived here while we lived in Pennsylvania. And it was one of those things where they only had me to ask questions. So now that we've been living here for 2 years, they've just been so in the habit of asking me for stuff that they don't bother to ask him. So they will literally walk right past him, walk into my bedroom, and just be like, Mom, can I get this? And I'm like, well, where's your dad? Oh, he's out here on the couch. I'm like, well, why didn't you just ask him? I don't know. They never know. Like, kids never know anything unless they want something, and then they know everything about everything. So it was great because I woke up, I got my birthday shower. I was all feeling good, refreshed. I didn't sleep well, but I'm like, that's neither here nor there. That's just a thing. And I'm like, I come out and I smell muffins, and Mr. Coffee had made me birthday muffins for breakfast, even though I didn't wake up until 12 o'clock, and I didn't get out of the shower or I didn't come out of my room until 1. He made me birthday muffins, and he's sitting here doing his homework, and the kids were running around playing, and Maggie comes up and she goes, Mommy, I did something. I'm like, well, what did you do? And I'm thinking she done tore up something. Because Maggie likes to do this thing where she will tear up stuff, but tell you she did a good thing. And I'm like, okay, what did she do? And she's like, I made you a card. Made me this adorable little birthday card that said happy birthday, Mommy, on it. Had a little rainbow on it. She's like, I know you like rainbows. So she made me a little rainbow. And I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, what am I looking at here? Like, you ever have your kids draw something for you, but it's like an abstract painting? You have no clue what the hell it is, so you have to have somebody explain it to you. So the tiny humans have to explain what they're drawing because you have no idea, but they're so excited about it. They're so proud about it, and you don't want to discourage them. So you're just like, oh, that's great, honey. What is it? Like, that's what I was doing. And she's like, Mom, it's you, me, and Daddy. And I'm like, why is Daddy shorter than everybody else? She goes, oh, because he has bigger muscles than everybody else. And I'm like, okay. So, and then I'm like, I look on the next page, and there's like something gray. Looks like a person sitting on something gray, and I'm like, what's this? And she goes, that's a shark. And I'm like, okay, what's up with the shark? And she goes, Minna's riding the shark. I'm like, why is Minna riding the shark? And she goes, well, duh, Mom, how else is she going to get home? Okay. So for those of you who don't know, Minna was here for the summer, which is my oldest daughter. She lives in PA with her dad. She was here for the summer for a month, and when she went to go leave, Maggie was just kind of like, Mommy, where's Daddy? Because my husband drove Minna back home. And that's like 2,700 miles one way. So when they left, after about 30 minutes, Maggie was just kind of like, Mommy, where did Daddy go? Daddy went to go take Minna home. Well, why? And I'm like, well, it was time for her to go home, baby. And we had been telling them for days that Minna was going to be going home. But for some reason, in Maggie's little tiny brain, she was just like, Minna's never leaving. Minna lives here now. And so she was all upset. And of course, everybody was upset when Minna left. And we're still a little sad about it. But we have to truck on through our day. And Maggie was under the assumption that Mr. Coffee was just taking Minna down the street to the store. And Minna was just going to randomly find her way home. Like, there was no plan to get Minna home. It was just dropping her off at the corner store and then, hoping for the best that she gets home. And I'm just like, Maggie, that is not how this works. And she goes, well, why not? Why can't Daddy just drop her off at the store? I'm like, because she's only 14, honey. Where is she supposed to go? Home? When you tell me to come home, I come straight home, Mommy. I'm like, no, you really don't, but okay. Plus, usually it's on the sidewalk. And instead of just coming to me for me to lift you over the porch rail, you just go around the building and then sit in the foyerway area there looking lost like you belong on an ASPCA commercial because you don't have the key or a code to get into the door. And she's like, well, Minna's smarter than me. She's older. She can find her way home. She is so dead set on the fact that Mr. Coffee should have just left Minna at the corner store and let her drive herself home or find a ride home. And I'm just like telling her no. So like every day she's like, Mommy, is Daddy coming home today? Is Daddy coming home today? Daddy coming. I'm like, oh my God, little tiny human, if you don't stop. So yeah, so there's Maggie and all her greatness. So we're currently in the process of getting things ready for school, getting the kids' rooms set back up, which their room is pretty much set up. I just need to clean up to make sure that their desk is clear and full of and decluttered, because at this point they don't put so much stuff all over their desk. It's ridiculous. I got the email from Orion's teacher Friday that, you know, hey, I'm, you know, just like the introductory email, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's Ryan's teacher. Well, where's Maggie's? Hadn't heard anything from Maggie's until Monday morning, which is today. And I was just like, oh, well, hi. And I go to sign up because you have to sign up for a time slot to come pick up the laptops. Well, I go sign up for a time slot to pick up the laptop for Orion, and I'm like, well, can I just pick up Maggie's and Orion together since, you know, they're going to the same school. Obviously, they're going to have, like, you know, the same pickup day or whatever. And the teacher was like, well, I'm at Rickard Elementary. And I'm like, what? You're what? I had to go back and check. Like, you ever have somebody tell you something, you have to go verify that you did something correctly because you feel like you did something wrong? I had to go verify and check that I registered my kid at the correct school, because I'm like, hold up, Rickard, what the hell is that? Apparently different teachers from different school districts are doing distance learning. They're not letting the actual teacher, because I wasn't sure how they were going to do that with the actual face-to-face teachers and the distance learning. And then they were just like, oh yeah, what's going to happen is there are select teachers that do distance learning, and those teachers are going to be the ones that are in charge of the distance learning. And if you have any questions or comments or, you know, whatever, you can send them over to those teachers. And I'm like, okay. Well, Orion's teacher's home base is, because there's like, does anybody else in, like, in the town where they live have more than one elementary school? And I'm like, I don't think it's that serious that we need more than one elementary school. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I don't think we need that many elementary schools within a 10-mile radius. Like, there's 4 of them. And the one that I try to avoid like the plague is called Trenton. Apparently, they're known for their students getting like a lot of lice cases. And I'm like, look, listen, I ain't sending my kids to that school, which is another reason why it's taken us so long to figure out a place to live. Is because we don't want to move out of the school district that we're in because the kids like this school district. But it might have to be a thing later on because one, we're going to have to get a bigger place. And 2, I know they have friends in school and stuff here, but it's at some point we're going to end up having to split them from their friends and take them somewhere else, because I don't know if we're going to be able to find a place that we want to live in this school district. So they have 4 different school districts here, and I think they had something like that in Pennsylvania as well, but I think it was for like the middle school. Which, question of the video, if you've gotten this far into the video, what grade does middle school start where you're at? Because I'm learning that it's different everywhere. Now, when I went to school, elementary school was kindergarten through 5th grade, and then middle school was 6th through 8th grade, and then high school was 9th through 12th grade. Apparently here, elementary is kindergarten through 4th, and then 5th through 7th, or no, 5th through, I think it's 5th through 7th, and then 8th through 12th is considered high school. And I'm like, but 8th grade, you're a senior in middle school. Like, I don't get it. When did they change? Did they change this? And I didn't know. Like, did I not get that memo, or did I just happen to chuck it in the trash? Which, somebody sent me a gift card for my birthday, and I didn't realize what it was, and I was half asleep. And this should teach me to stop answering or trying to look at messages when I'm half asleep. I didn't realize what it was, and I accidentally threw it away. And so, like, the next morning I woke up and I went, hold up, what was that I threw away yesterday? For some reason, something told me to go back and check. And sure enough, I'm glad I did, because somebody had sent me a gift card, and I had, sure enough, just chucked it in the trash because I was half asleep and I didn't know what was going on. All right, sorry about that. I had to knock at the door, had a package come in, not sure where it came from. I know where one of them came from, but I don't know where the other one came from. But yeah, like, we're as ready as we're going to be for the school year this year, and like I said, I'm not excited about it. This isn't something I would normally do if it wasn't for the fact that there's a pandemic outside. And again, Orion is sickly. You say the word sick and he gets sick, so I'm not about, you know, risking their life for it. So I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly with classes and none of the kids get sick and stuff. But with them not being able to guarantee it, and then they're like, oh yeah, sign this waiver that states that if your child gets COVID, you can't sue the school district. And I'm just like, that doesn't help me at all with this decision. So we're as ready as we're going to be. I just need to pick up their laptops, and then it just sucks because Mr. Coffee isn't off. So, like, he's still working his weird hours now. Like, he was here last week, obviously, because he was on days off. But he's working his weird hours now, and, like, he works at night, so he doesn't get home until late. So by the time he gets home, they'll be in bed. Before, he would be getting home right as they were getting ready for bed. But now by the time he gets home, they'll be already asleep. So he's kind of bummed out about that. He got really upset last night, and I feel really bad. Now, last night was my birthday, but he had homework assignment that he really, really needed to get a hold of. And he got a hold of the homework assignment, and he was working on it all day. He didn't get it in on time, and I felt really bad because we didn't really get a chance to, like, spend any time together yesterday. But he wanted to make sure I relaxed. So what did he do? He took my flipping phone. I was like, are you kidding me right now? I walk out of the room from after my shower and everything, and I go to sit down, and he goes, can I see your phone? And I'm like, yeah, why? And I give him my phone. He goes, all right, enjoy your day. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, enjoy your day. What do you mean enjoy my day? He goes, I'll be handling your comments and questions and stuff for today. Okay. So he took care of hearting messages and checking messages and letting people into the group. And unless like somebody like Becky or somebody messaged me, then he would like let me have the phone. But I didn't get a chance to like look at any of the messages or anything I got yesterday. So he was all in charge of that. And I'm just sitting there like, are you going to be able to handle that? Because I'm telling you right now, between you being frustrated with school and my subscribers, I'm like, I don't know if you can handle that. And he goes, I got this. It's just YouTube. How hard can this be? Y'all, the first question came in. Somebody had asked about a diamond painting company. And he's like, what's an AliExpress? I'm like, what? He goes, what's an who's AliExpress? I'm like, who's AliExpress? I'm like, that's a company. He goes, okay, what do they sell? I'm like, everything, all the things. It's like a Walmart online for China. And he's like, oh, well, somebody's asking something about AliExpress. I'm like, can I see it? He goes, no, it'll be there tomorrow. I'm like, I really don't like letting people wait for stuff. And he's like, you'll be all right. Maggie comes in. Mommy, are you enjoying your phone free day? It's our present to you. I'm like, present? Your present to me is disorganization and chaos? Okay. I'm like, if I don't answer these questions now, then tomorrow I will get bombarded with them. So I would much rather answer them now. And he goes, why don't you go get yourself something? I'm like, go get myself something? Like, he sent me out of the house, and I didn't know why. And I was just like, all right, whatever. So I leave the house, come back, and he surprised me with more stuff for my Cricut. Apparently, he wanted to wrap some of the things up. So he wrapped up a couple of things, gave them to me. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Maggie goes, I wrapped this one. Y'all, I see where Maggie gets her wrap job from, because if you've ever gotten anything from me, I'm not a rapper. I'm not good at wrapping stuff. Hands up, show of hands of people who are good at wrapping stuff, because it's just not me. I have learned how to wrap up a diamond paint. I can wrap up a diamond paint now like nobody's business. I can probably do it blindfolded. But anything else, have you ever tried to wrap up something that's an odd shape, and then you just kind of give up because you can't get it, so you just kind of roll it in there and tie the ends off with bows, and it looks like a giant piece of candy? That's my type of wrapping, especially for Christmas, when your kids get those awkward shaped toys, and you're like, how the hell am I supposed to roll? You know what? I'm just going to roll it up in here, tie the sides off, put a ribbon on it, boom, Christmas. They're just going to tear it up anyways. So he got me some more vinyl for my Cricut Joy, and I decided last night to make a couple of things. I'm going to be handing out and doing Patreon gifts here within the next week. So that's another reason I'm trying to hurry up and get this done, so that I can work on the Patreon gifts. So for those of you who don't know, I do have a Patreon, and there are 4 different tiers to my Patreon. It's just a way to help support the channel and help me bring you bigger and better content. Is of course not required, but it always is appreciated to have the extra help when it comes to buying kits and stuff. So, you know, for those folks that are on Patreon, thank you so much. You're greatly appreciated. So yeah, so he took my phone yesterday, and I did get to go to the store, and I did take my phone with me when I was driving, just because if something happens, I need to be able to contact him. At least that's the excuse I used. So I get out to the store, and it's like the usual. It's Sunday. It's busy. I just needed a couple of things. I found a couple of packs of masks because I really wanted to try the Cricut with the mask. And so I was like, all right, sweet. Get back, and he was just like, enjoy the rest of your day. And so essentially I just sat here talking with him and the kids and playing and essentially not being bothered. Like, the kids would come out and ask for something, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, mommy's off duty. Like, as a stay-at-home mom, I don't get days off, okay? And when I do, I take full advantage of them. So when Mr. Coffee says he's going to handle everything, the kids are just kind of like, oh God, no, please, Mama, he's going to burn us alive in this house. And I'm just like, you will be all right. I am sitting right here. I won't let him hurt you. So Mr. Coffee essentially took the reins and he got us dinner and he cleaned up and got the kids lunch and everything. And I'm just like, you know what? I could get used to this. My birthday needs to come around more often. Maybe Maggie had the right idea with your birthday being a whole month, because getting a day off? Yes. So there was birthday shenanigans. We didn't do a whole lot. I didn't want to do a whole lot. I get really grouchy on my birthday. I don't know why, but we didn't really do a whole lot. And that was actually exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be able to sit and do nothing. Like, nobody needs me for anything. Nobody asks me for anything. Nobody bothering me. I just want to sit and do nothing. And that's what I got for my birthday. That was probably the best gift ever, besides like my little joy. So I'm just like, okay, this was a successful birthday. Last year, y'all, last year was a hot freaking mess. And if you remember, I even took off doing a live because it was just so freaking bad. This year totally made up for it. And even though Mr. Coffee spent the entire day doing his homework, it was still a really, really good day. Except for the fact that Mr. Coffee was like, it's really nice outside. And I'm like, okay, why is the back door open? I don't open our back door. Why? Because one, we live in North Dakota, which is the state of the gangsta bugs, apparently. These bugs come in your house like they pay rent there, okay? And so I don't like opening the door, because if we open the door, then flies come in, y'all. I feel like a crocodile hunter whenever I'm hunting flies in my house, because like we have tall ceilings. And though I'm tall, I still have to jump up to get anything that's, you know, possibly on the ceiling. So I'm sitting here yesterday and we're just getting overrun by flies. And he's steadily sitting there with the door open. And I'm like, can we turn on the air conditioner? He's like, it's only like 70 degrees outside. I'm like, one, for him to say he doesn't want to turn on the air conditioner is a blessing in disguise, because he always wants the air conditioner on. Anything over 60 degrees is too hot for him. So the fact that he didn't want to close the door, I got kind of irritated, because then I spent the entire evening swatting flies away from me. And I'm like, look, listen, I feel like a hobo right now with all these flies flying around me. Luckily, I had just bought a fly swatter. And I feel like fly swatters are like umbrellas. Like, you don't really own them. They just belong to the universe, and you just borrow them from place to place. Because I remember we've had fly swatters before, but I have no idea where they came from. And these two I actually bought myself. I lost them for about 3 months, found them the other day, and I'm like, oh, the universe decided to give us back the fly swatters. It must have known we were going to need them. Y'all, I spent the entire day walking around my house, creeping around my house, trying to kill flies. They're looking at me all funny. I'm like, you took my phone. This is the only source of entertainment I have. Get out of my face. Now, I know some people use like those fly traps, the ones that hang from the ceiling or hang from like a wall or something, and it has like that sticky film on it. But I don't want to see all the dead bugs. I can't. So I'm just like, no, I will just go by and kill all the flies. Y'all, I must have killed like 15 flies yesterday. I'm like, look, listen, we just took the trash out. There's no food in here for you flies. You're not paying rent. You need to get the hell out of here, like, seriously. And I'm just walking around like Elmer Fudd, like, we're hunting wascally flies. We gonna get all the flies. And every time one would land, I'm just like creeping over to it like I'm in a cartoon, trying to like swat at it so I can kill it. And I'm just like, this is my life now. I have turned into that adult. Just like, at what age do you realize that you're more adult than you ever been in your entire life? Let me explain. I was looking at something the other day, and I was watching this dance. Okay, these people were dancing to a song. And I was just sitting over here minding my business, you know, listening to the song. And then the lady starts dancing, and I see her go all the way backwards. Now, she was flexible, obviously, because she went all the way backwards and then did like a little flip. And I was just like, oh, okay, ow. And then I was on Instagram a couple of days ago, and I seen a photo of somebody, and the way they posed, it looked like they were going to break their knees or their spine. And I was just like, I'm at that age now that when I see stuff like that, I go, oh my God, I can feel the hurt in my kneecaps. Like, my arthritis is acting up. I can feel it in my kneecaps. Like, I'm getting too old for this. And yesterday was one of those pivotal moments where I realized I have now reached that age I'm closer to 40 than I am 20, or the beginning ages of 30. So, like, I'm still part of the Dirty 30 Club, but I'm about to be kicked out for, you know, loss of membership because I've aged out. So, like, it's weird because I think it's another reason why I don't tend to remember my age, because then it doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm closer to 40 now than I am. And it's weird because I still, in my mind, I still am like, I'm still that kid living on my own in my 20s, just doing whatever the hell I want to do. Like, I'm still that person. And I am to an extent, except for now I work on baby time. And by baby time, I mean I work on Maggie's time, because Maggie's the only little person in this house that can't take care of herself. So, yeah. And then yesterday, one of the other things that she wanted to do was clean her room. And I was like, well, that would be a great birthday present for mommy, because then mommy doesn't have to fuss at you, because I don't know what it is. She'll want to play with all the toys, but don't want to put the toys away. So, like, Maggie's one of those kids, and it irritates the crap out of me. I don't know if anybody else's kid does this. You will tell Maggie she needs to clean up something, and she'll go, okay. All right, she's going to clean it up. And then she'll come back 2 seconds later and be like, I don't want to clean up. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I asked you if you wanted to do it or not. I'm pretty sure I just said do it. She's like, but I don't want to clean up my toys. Can't you just throw them away? Now I've threatened to never throw her toys away and always make her clean up after me playing in her room. And that's how my life is now. Like, that is my life now. I now have to threaten my daughter that I'm never throwing her toys away, because every time you try to give Maggie a consequence, she tries to act like the consequence is good for her. Like, she's just like, oh, you're gonna spank me if I don't, clean up my toys. Well, I was ready to take a nap anyways, and I'll probably just cry myself to sleep. And I'm just like, what the hell? Now, back in my day, and it was funny because we were watching this show, and Mr. Coffee had said, when he was younger, he wasn't allowed to talk any kind of way to his parents. And we had just before that seen, like, outrageous kid videos where they were, like, cussing and yelling at their parents. And I don't know how everybody else was raised, okay? But I was raised with Big Bertha. Big Bertha was my dad's leather belt. And if you acted out, Big Bertha came out, and you weren't happy to see her, okay? She wasn't like the nice auntie that brought you Werther's Originals in her pockets. This was the mean auntie that was going to light your butt up because you misbehaving. I literally watched a little kid in the store the other day. His mom told him to put a toy back or something, and he was just like, no, leave me alone. I don't like you. I'm sorry, do you need some assistance, ma'am? Are you okay? Like, in that situation where most people are like looking at her and judging her based on what her kid is doing because, oh, she must be a bad parent, her kid isn't listening, my brain goes to, do you need assistance beating his behind? Because, good God, like, seriously, no, I can't stand for that. I will not stand for that. And then she's like, no, he's fine. He's just upset that he can't get the toy that he wants, but things are tight with the new virus stuff going on, and my husband just lost his job and we can't afford to buy him toys like we used to. And I'm just like, I didn't ask for your life history, woman. I just wanted to know if you needed assistance because your son just essentially told you to shut up in front of about 40 people. And I'm sorry, like, he do something. And she's like, all right, James, we're going home. And he's like, I'm not going out. And then we go watch it. We just happened to be like watching like a reaction channel on YouTube, and they were reacting to children misbehaving. And I'm like, back in my day, if I misbehave, I not only got it from my mama, but then my mama would tell my dad, and I would get it from him too. Nowadays, they don't do that because I know spanking is bad, and you're a bad parent if you spank your kids. Well, I'm a bad parent then because I sure have popped my daughter's hand and her behind for misbehaving. So call me a bad parent. I don't give a crap. They're just like, you can't spank your kids. And I'm like, look, I grew up in the 80s, okay? I was born in 1984, okay? Look, listen, I was spanked as a child, and I came out very respectful, and nothing, like, I'm not traumatized by the fact that my parents spanked my butt. I'm traumatized by everything else that happened in my childhood, but me getting spankings was not one of them. And a lot of times I see these kids acting out in the store, especially if they're in the toy section. Y'all, look, listen. Don't let me see your kids acting out in the store, because I will come up and tell them about themselves, okay? It ain't gotta be my kid. Sure don't gotta be my kid. But you best believe I'm gonna say something to him. Sorry, I'm working down here and y'all are looking at whatever. So yeah, like it's one of those things where like parenting is hard. It doesn't come with a manual, and you know what? I'm not a drinking parent, but if I was, I would totally understand the drinking. And when you first start parenting, and this is how I was like, I'm going to be like the perfect mom. I'm going to play with my children all day, only learning activities. You know, I'm going to mandate story time and TV time. I'm going to tell them when they can and can't do this and that and this. And then I had kids. And now I'm just like, here's your tablet. Here's some animal crackers. Go on about your business. Goodbye. Like, parenting is hard, okay? It's a struggle every day. And between right now, we're in that fight of, okay, Orion, you're getting to be older. Like, okay, this is hard for me to talk about because my little boy isn't so little anymore. He's turning 10 next year. So Orion's birthday is in February. He turns 10 next year, and he's already got the BO. And I'm just like, my baby, don't grow up like your sister did. Don't do that to me. And he goes, well, Mom, I don't have a choice. And I'm like, you do. Just stop growing. Would you like some cigarettes and coffee to stunt your growth? And he goes, Mom, those are bad for you. I'm like, I know, but please stop growing. Like, Orion is, like, solid as a rock. Like, he's a big old, like, hefty kid, and he's real quiet, and I wouldn't say he's shy. He's a very friendly kid when it comes to, like, other kids and stuff. Very outgoing. Like, he has those leadership qualities, and you don't get to see or hear about Orion too much, because Orion, you know, he never really does anything. He sits in his room and reads or plays video games, and on the off occasion that his sister is annoying the piss out of him, he will come sit out in the living room with us. Which doesn't happen often, but we always are happy when it does, because I'm like, oh, well, it's nice to see you again. Nice to see you're alive, because Orion's like a savage. He only comes out of his room for food. And I thought that was a thing when they were, like, turned teenagers. Like, when they're teenagers, that's when they don't never come out of their room. My son has literally spent a good 75% of his summer in his room. And I'm like, should I make him come out and make him do stuff with me? And I had him come out for, like, a few hours the other day. He beat me at a couple of card games. And I'm like, you know what? Go back to your room. Just go back to your room. I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone. Go away. Just go back to your room. And he's just like, Mom, you called me out here. We ain't pointing fingers at who did what. You just go back to have fun. Just have fun, okay? And he's like, okay. And he goes back to his room. And I'm just sitting there like, parenting is hard. And then, like, every time Mr. Coffee comes home from work, he looks at me and he goes, how was your day? I was here with the Maggie. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, hun, that you had a bad day. I'm like, it wasn't a bad day. It was a horrible day. Maggie right now, she's settled down a lot. But, like, at the beginning of the summer, you couldn't get that girl to sit down and save her life. Good God. Now she's settled down a little bit more because Orion will actually play with her. But Ryan's like, you know, why do I always have to play with her? Because we said so, that's why. Like, I don't understand why you're questioning this. It's your sister. You shouldn't be mad about playing with your sister. If you did not know, I'm trying to complete the entire black outline first and then go into those colors. And as you can see from right here, look at the colors on that. It looks like the diamonds are already on it. They're not even on there yet. You guys, this canvas is about to be lit. I can't wait. So yeah, like, it's just, home life right now is good. We got through the paranoia, and one of the reasons why I had asked for space when Mr. Coffee left is because of the paranoia that comes with being bipolar. My brain function is always negative. It's always like, if he drives Minna home, he could get into a car accident. It could be because somebody else is driving badly. It doesn't necessarily have to be because he's driving badly. Like, my brain will automatically be like overly paranoid about every little thing, and I was dealing with that a lot. I'm just coming out of the depression of Minna leaving, and yes, there was a slight depression there when my daughter left. It happens whenever she comes up to visit and then she has to leave. I wasn't very happy with myself or with, you know, life in general, just because, you know, I miss my daughter. So, like, it sucks when she leaves, and then my brain is, like, you know, doing its thing, being all negative Nancy up there. And so when I had asked for space, that was wise, because I was trying to get myself out of that depression. And when I finally did kick myself in the butt and got out of the depression, I was just kind of like, you know what? she'll be back again next year. She needs to go to school. You know, you can't have her here forever. You know, just trying to reassure myself that everything's going to be okay. But then when she got home safely, then I have the worry of, okay, now Mr. Coffee has to make that trip by himself. He doesn't have anybody to talk to except for, like, if he calls. And he kept, like, his first night driving, he kept hitting all these weird, like, road closed signs in Ohio, because Ohio apparently also... Raise a hand if you live in a state where your state flower during the summer is orange traffic cone. Because I don't know about anywhere else, but they choose to fix the roads here in the summertime, and then when they fix the roads, of course, all you see are orange traffic cones. So I'm like, I wonder how many other people have the state flower of traffic cone during the summer. Okay, sorry, I had to go break up the little mini fight that's happening in my house right now. So, yeah. Everything's been going good at home, though. Everybody's home safe, which is all that matters. Minna is getting ready for school. I know a lot of people had asked what she had decided. She had decided, I think she's doing part-time, so she's going to go to school part-time, face-to-face, and then the other part of this time she's going to be doing it from home. So we're just making sure that she has a laptop and everything, because unlike where we live, where she lives doesn't offer laptops to the kids, so they have to have their own. And I'm not going to have her dad trying to foot the bill to buy her a laptop all by himself, especially since he has other kids in the house that he has to worry about. And I just feel bad for those parents that have kids that are, like, supposed to be starting kindergarten. They thought this was going to be the year of fun for them, which, if you don't know what the year of fun is something... Okay, when I say these things, it's usually just something that's in my head. But the year of fun is that year that your kid finally ages into school, and you're a stay-at-home mom, and you realize you're going to have that whole day to yourself to clean and do whatever it is you want to do. So you spend the first few weeks doing absolutely nothing and feeling bad for it, and then you get on the ball the next following week, but you're just happy that you have that time to yourself. That's the week of fun for me. So a lot of those parents that were looking forward to that week of fun because, you know, your child is finally in school and they finally get to do bigger kid things, they're missing out on that because of the virus. And some, you know, I don't know where about everybody else, but I know some places aren't even allowing kindergartners to go to school this year or preschool just because of everything. But where I live, they are letting them go back to school, and of course they're going to try to have the kids wear masks. And again, I'm like, look, I don't think that's going to work out very well in your favor, but good luck to you. I'll be at the house here chilling. I sent Maggie's teacher an email asking, you know, do they need anything special? Because of course, like every year, they send out a school list that they put at Walmart. Like, I don't know how everybody else get their school list for the supplies that their kids need for school, but they put it at Walmart because they know in this town, that's where you're going, okay? You're going to go there to go get the supplies. So they just put the whole school list at Walmart. And we go get the school list just in case, you know, we wanted to make sure if they had to go to school, what they would need. And so they had the usual stuff on their school list, but it didn't have an option for, like, if your child is homeschooled, you'll still need this. So I asked her teacher, who messaged me this morning, I was like, hey, Mr. B, because he has a long, drawn-out, like, last name. So, you know, I'm like, hey, Mr. B, is there anything Maggie especially needs besides what you guys are going to be providing for her, like her laptop and her worksheets and everything else? Is there anything else special she's going to need? And I'm like, also, because with Orion, I had to set up a time to go pick up his stuff. With Maggie, there wasn't a time thing set up. They were just like from 9 until 3, you have until to come pick up the laptops. So I asked him 2 questions. I was like, so is there anything special that Maggie's going to need? And is there a special time that I need to sign up for to come pick up her laptop? Why did her teachers text me back, or he emailed me back and goes, yes? That's all he put. Yes. Yeah. What? I'm sorry. I'm confused. Yes. Yes to which question? Both questions? One question? How are we doing this? Like, I don't understand. So this school year, I can see it's going to it's going to be one of those, like, ones to remember, because already we're off to a bang up start. Sorry, I have all these little pieces of something on my kit. So yeah, so the kids we're getting ready for school. We're ramping up for that. I saw a couple of people on my Facebook page and their kids are going to school, and in one of the hot spots, I saw a lady, you know, one of my friends get her kids ready for school, and I'm just like, you know, does he have to wear a mask? How's the mask thing going? And she goes, oh, they're not wearing masks at his school. And I'm like, you live in a hot spot. She goes, oh, yeah, but they're not worried about the kids getting sick. And I'm like, yeah, everything right now is so up in the air and so uncertain. I don't know what's going on in the world. I'm just taking it day by day. So, you know, I know a lot of people are suffering from mental health issues. And I would like to also say a big thank you and appreciate all of you that watched the mental health issue I did with Mr. Coffee. It's not hard for, it's not easy for me to talk about my mental health, because every time I do, there are people that want to psychoanalyze. Well, I don't think you have this. I think you did this. And I'm like, are you a therapist? No, then you wouldn't know. Please leave me alone. There's always that somebody that thinks that they can fix you and want to psychoanalyze your condition, and they want to understand it, but they're not listening to what you're saying, but they're trying to figure out, like, in their head from their knowledge what they know about what's going on with you. And it's like, could you just sit and listen? So, like, that interview with Mr. Coffee and me talking about mental health, it did help a lot, so that, because a lot of people stated in the comments, you know, I now understand where you're coming from. All right, cool. A lot of other people are just like, so Mr. Coffee just doesn't care? I'm like, what do you mean doesn't care? I'm like, he does care. Just at certain times, no, he's not going to bother with, you know, getting emotionally invested in something that is going to change in 5 minutes. So there's no point of him getting upset with me for something I blow up at him about when he knows in 5 minutes it's just going to change. So, like, the video went over a lot better than I thought. So, again, thank you guys. I feel like I could talk to you guys about stuff and you won't judge me. Like, I don't feel like I have, like, some of the best subscribers on YouTube. I don't have a bunch of judgy Judies in my comment section. And I really appreciate that, because where I do have those people that will thumbs down the video, just not because it's, and this is another question, you know, creators get a lot. How can somebody thumbs down your video? Just know, a lot of the times when people are thumbing down videos, one, they think it gives them some kind of sick, twisted power over you and your channel. Two, a lot of the times they're not thumbing down the content. They're more so thumbing down the creator of the content. They don't like you for whatever reason. Like, I have quite a few people that aren't, you know, the best of friends with me right now because of, like, the whole, like, Black Lives Matter thing, and oh, well, they're this and that, and I immediately shut that down. This is not up for debate on my channel. If, again, it's one of those things where if you leave because of it, that's on you, but that's not on me. But I get a lot of slack for that. Every time I mention it, somebody comes up in my comment section about terrorist organization, and then I just ask them one simple question, and then after I ask them that question, they're just like, they have nothing to say. You hear the crickets chirping. Speaking of crickets, one last story. So I'm sitting here on the couch, right? And it was, I want to say it was after live on Friday. And this is what I mean by these bugs will drive you insane. We're sitting on the couch here, and we hear chirping of crickets. Now, we're thinking the chirping's coming from outside, but I'm like, it's pretty loud for it to be coming out from outside. So we finally decided, you know, okay, this is somewhere in the house. Where's the freaking cricket? Again, you're like stealthily moving around trying to figure out where this sound is coming from. And crickets aren't as fast as flies, but they're fast enough. Y'all, I swear, this cricket jumped out of one of the shoes that we keep by the door. And I fell over the dog. I went running to my room, and Mr. Coffee's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, the freaking cricket's over there. Now, I'm not afraid of crickets. It's just the way he approached me, okay? He didn't have to come at me the way he did. And I'm talking about, like, when you're, like, messing with it or trying to find a bug, how you like, you got to test the waters a little bit. You got to tap the environment to make sure it's not going to just pop out at you. So I'm, like, tapping the shoe. As I'm tapping the shoe, it just jumps out at me, like, legit in my direction. We were eye to eye for about 30 seconds, okay? It was a real thing. Scared the crap out of me. I don't appreciate him coming at me like that all up in my face. He invaded my personal space just to scare me, and it worked. And I ran straight to my room, and Mr. Coffee's just like, it's a freaking cricket. I'm like, I know. And like I said, I'm not afraid of crickets, but it's just the way he approached me, though. Like, it's all about the approach. Don't get it twisted. I'm still gangsta, but it's all about the approach. And he came at me full force, just cricket. No, I can't. You almost gave me a heart attack. No, I already done fell over the dog. Everything. No. Also, Killian's allergy. Apparently, Killian is allergic to certain types of dog food. And I didn't realize this, and he got some doggy treats, and we found out he's allergic to them. So that's what his test results came back as. And so he can't have Alpo anything. Anything with the Alpo, that brand, apparently will make him break out. Something in the food makes him break out. So the doctor told us, you know, keep him away from the food. Don't let him have any more, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, that's not a big deal. Like, it's, you know, it is what it is. So his nose is finally starting to clear up. We got some more of his skin medication, and he is back in his cone. He's not very happy about it because how can you be terrifying in a cone of shame? You really can't. So he's not very happy about the fact that he's back in his cone. But you know what? It is what it is, because we got to do what we got to do to make sure he doesn't keep his face all clawed up. And we've cut his nails like 3 times, and still, for some reason, he's like Freddy Krueger over there just clawing the crap out of his face. And I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. You needs to stop. So, yeah, but he's doing fine. Daisy didn't have any issues besides she kept, like, her stomach was upset from the doggy treats that she got. But Killian actually had a legit allergic reaction to it. So we have to just be really careful about what we give him because of the fact that apparently he's allergic and we didn't know. So he's doing fine. So everybody in the house is doing great. Minna's doing great. I just gave her some money for school clothes so she can go shopping with her friends for school clothes. That's the other thing too, is I get to save money on school clothes this year because 1, I had already bought them before spring break. And 2, you got to buy them when you can, folks. Buy them big, and that way they grow into them. But all right, folks, with that said, I should probably head out because it's getting a little later here in the day, and the kids are going to be ready to get on with the evening and get dinner and all that. One of the good things about Mr. Coffee not being home during the evenings is I don't have to cook a whole big dinner. So we just have like little kid meals, which is not good for my waistline, but it's good for my mental stability and having to cook full course meals every day. So it's kind of nice that we can have stupid stuff like cereal and pizza and just stuff that we like. I would normally cook like a regular meal for Mr. Coffee when he's home because no matter what you cook at the kids' age, they don't want it, even if they ask for it. We have learned this the hard way. So we have stopped essentially catering to them and just make what we make, and they either eat it or they don't. I don't give a crap at this point because I don't make special stuff for them for dinner. So yeah, so usually after fighting with them for about 30 minutes, they'll eat dinner, but it is what it is. But I really should let you guys get going. Thank you guys so much for listening to me randomly ramble on about absolutely nothing. It's always so much fun to hear what you guys have to say. So I did put a couple of little questions in the video. If you got to those parts of the video, you can answer the questions. If not, just leave me a little comment. Let me know how you're doing. How's everybody hanging in there with quarantine? Have you guys started school yet? You know, just let us know how you're doing. So with that said, folks, thank you again so much for watching. If you're new to the channel and would like to see more random crazy videos just like this, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified anytime I randomly decide to put up a video. And believe me, it's random. With that said, folks, thank you again so much for watching. I did get a lot of this done, so I'm very excited to get this black part done. I should have that done by the end of the night. So with that said, I must now bid you adieu. But not before reminding you to always try. Wash your hands, don't touch your face, keep your 6 feet, and always try to be kind, be courteous,